Hi guys, I'm going to have a comparison here between Unity assets and CopperCube. Well, it's not really the assets so much as the graphics quality. So I've downloaded this pretty large file from the Unity web asset store, 2.3 gigabytes of data. Now in the Unity editor, I want to show you the Unity first, then I'll show you CopperCube. Almost all the textures are 2 and 4K. Well, actually, they all are. It's between 2 and 4K from the that go into this. This is one big prefabricated demo of all the assets. It's very nice. Looks awesome. You can't put loads and 4K textures into CopperCube. There's 28 separate textures, and they're all mostly 4K, some 2K. I couldn't get that into once it go above around 350 or 400 megabytes of information, or at least textures anyway. In CopperCube, it just won't save. It'll start crashing. You can't use it anymore. You have to reduce the texture count. As you can see, this is an example of the meeting room in the editor in Unity. Looks really good, really nice. Obviously, you can't do that metallic finish with CopperCube very well, not so easily anyway. But in the game, Unity itself, it looks completely different. It looks like that. I don't know why that is. I've checked the quality settings in the Unity, and it's on Ultra, so it should give me maximum performance, I should expect. But anyway, but basically, what the summary of what I've had. This is as a noob. I don't use Unity much, but I've just been playing with it today. The last few days, is obviously in the editor it looks fantastic, but in the game itself it's not the same quality for some reason. I don't know why that is. But anyway, this will be my 2 cents worth of showing what I found with Unity and compared to CopperCube, and I'll discuss the differences later. So if you go to the game, well, let's just play it. I added in a controller, first-person controller. Oh, there he is. Okay, it's completely different. The graphics is not as resolution is reduced. See how the color of the seats has gone to black? On the seats, you don't get that metallic look anymore. I don't know why. Whether the prefab demo was not set up right, I don't know. But the quality of the textures has gone down. Looks like that's like a 512 or no, that's like a 1K texture if you're lucky, but it's supposed to be at 4K, so I don't know. But anyway, still okay. It's usable, but it needs to be brighter. It's very dark. I don't know what's so bright dark for, but alright, so just get a good idea of how everything looks, and I'll show you CopperCube in a minute. So you've got the doors, you've got nice little lights you can add in Unity like that. You can't do that in CopperCube. Well, you can, but not as easily. Oh yeah, got a bit of a nice looking metallic look there. Pretty good. Let's go back upstairs. This is a decent map. It's got downstairs and upstairs sections to it. So that door looks pretty crap. I don't know why it looks that bad. In the editor it looks way better than that. But I think you'll be impressed with what CopperCube can do, actually. In my opinion, it's actually better than what this is showing, for whatever reason. In some respects anyway. Alright, so we've got, it's all very dark in here. Alright, so we've got some computers. And so just try and remember all that. I'll show you CopperCube in a minute. This is the last part. The pipes are nicely rounded, even though they're actually not very high polygon or anything. It just rounds it off nicely. That's one thing I've seen about. Well, you can actually see the does a better job of that particular thing with Unity than CopperCube, I have to say. But overall, CopperCube stands out in my opinion. Alright, so let's stop that. If we go open CopperCube. Okay, I've got CopperCube open now. So I've changed the colour of those seats. So instead of black to a sort of a grey colour, just for the texture for that reason. But I mean, CopperCube still looks pretty good, doesn't it? So this is 318,000 polygons, 255 megabytes. I reduced all the 2 and 4K textures basically to 1K because it was just too much for it. But still looks pretty good if you ask me. The only difference is you can, with the normals, you can actually see the separate reduced polygons on these sim surfaces, which you don't actually see in Unity. If I didn't apply the normals, you would see a nice rounded surface with beautiful shading that you couldn't tell it was blocky like that. But when you put the normals to it in CopperCube, it blocks it, makes it blocky. That's the only problem I'm having. Yeah, and so you can see a little bit more what I mean by blocky textures with, for example, the railings. Lighting was good. There's no problem with the lighting too much, really. The only reason only thing I can't work out in CopperCube is why these lights switch on and off from a certain distance from the player. I don't know why they do that. So here's this room. I've made it a bit brighter than the other one. Here's the computers again. It looks to be about the same for the most part, except for those bins and the railings. You can see that's the only real difference basically. Other than that, I'd say CopperCube is better compared to what I could get out of Unity. I don't know why. That's weird. Yeah. So those barrels could look a bit better. They're all got normals on them. Every single texture has got normals applied. If I take the normals off, it'll look better, but it'll be brighter and it might stand out because everything else has got normals in this scene. So yeah. In some textures I could leave the 4K texture full resolution. On some of them I can. I think from these walls and floors and the doors I might have left it at full resolution. It looks pretty good, doesn't it? But not those computers. I think I reduced it for that. Yeah. So as you can see, so let's run that. The editor, and as you know, in the editor of CopperCube and when you're playing it, it's the same. I can't see any difference. So that looks a bit better, doesn't it? It's a lot brighter. I mean, that's easily changed in Unity as well, but the light changes by itself. I don't know why it's doing that, but anyway. Here's the red light. Yeah, so basically it's very similar on the whole scheme of things. If you use the same textures, it would be the same. But apart from any metallic finishes like that, you can't put metallic. There's no metallic there on those containers. Yeah, and this is as you can see, the frames per second, 62. There's no issues with frames per second. It's running at maximum frames per second. Hang on a second. I'll just get back my. Okay, this is it's like a performance meter. I can see all the CPU cores. CPU core 1 in this particular instance is using quite a bit. It's not actually 100%. Like some games I run in CopperCube, it's always just the one core. This is, for some reason, because it's one gigantic mesh. It's one big gigantic mesh combined. It's actually splitting the load up between cores, which is actually pretty good. If you don't want to stress out the one core all the time. Yeah. As you can see, this CopperCube looks pretty good, doesn't it? pretty nice. But this is all one big combined mesh. In reality, if I was going to use this, I would have to split up all the assets and put them all in separately, and maybe per room I could create a combined mesh per room, but and then have the doors close and open and switch off different rooms when you don't need to see it, and switch it on when you go in, that sort of thing. That would be a pretty optimal way to do it. Yeah, so you could theoretically run it on older computers. The chairs, I'm slightly concerned with the blockiness of the railings part of it, but it's not a massive problem. I suppose if I could change it to a white colour, you wouldn't actually see it so much. Wouldn't look so bad then. Yeah, and that looks about the same as Unity, I guess, isn't it? Even though this is 1K texture, Unity's got the full, I think it's 2K or 4K texture in there for that particular item. But on the whole, it runs, what do we got, 51? Oh, okay, it has gone down a little bit, frames per second, according to that. And, okay, a little bit of bottleneck on the hard drive. I must be running something on my computer at the moment, outside of the game, just temporarily. It's doing something. Might be the antivirus or something, I don't know. Yeah, so memory usage. Okay, that's because I've got Unity open and CopperCube. It's using a lot more. Normally it's about 4 gigabytes. Yeah, and I'm using a couple of cores, at least 2 cores. Let's just close Unity down and see what the situation is then. Okay, so should be a bit better. What's the memory now? 2.57 gigabytes. Should go up to about what, 4 or something? Gone up to, that's only just gone up a couple of hundred megabytes. So 3 gigabytes memory used. I'm using how many cores? Usually, most of the time when you use CopperCube, it sticks with the core number 0 or the first core and just runs it like near 100%. For whatever reason, it's splitting up the load. I don't know why it's doing that. It's 32-bit application, but anyway, which is good if it wants to do that. Happy with that. Looks more efficient. Yeah, for some reason the hard drive is running at the moment, as you can see, but that's not the CopperCube. That's something else is running. Yeah. So I think it looks pretty good, and I reckon in this particular instance I'm going to keep CopperCube is the winner here. I mean, I'm only a newbie with Unity. Some of you experts out there, you probably know what the problem is, but Unity is supposed to be better, but I couldn't get it to make it look better, apart from in the editor. Yeah, so you can look pretty good, get some good stuff out of CopperCube. At the end of the day, so yeah, so you keep the memory down below about 350 megabytes. It should be okay. Once you get it heading up around that figure and above, once you're trying to save it, it'll often crash the editor and it'll corrupt your game. So you got to keep an eye on that. Anyway, yeah, hope you enjoyed that, and any questions, let me know. Cheers.